Action.
Rolling, I don't normally ask people, but can we put that in the trash? This is exception to the rule. Just put your phones on vibrate to shut them off for the women upstairs and the brothers downstairs, because we don't want to be disturbed. Inshallah, and if you have to take a call, at least step in the hallway, inshallah, ta'ala. Please put your phones on vibrate to shut them off. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi وسلم تسليما كثيرا ومن استنى بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, the facilitator of all good, the acceptor of invocation from His servant, and the one that accepts all deeds with ikhlas and mutaba'ah, all deeds with ikhlas done in order to gain His pleasure, in order to please and serve Him, in conjunction with the sunnah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Allah to make us of those that have ikhlas, purity of action for His sake, and following our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We thank Him as He has allowed us to wake up, see another day. وَنَحْنُ فِي أَمَانٍ وَنِعْمَةٍ وَخَيْرٍ. We're safe. We have a lot of things Allah has given us, and we are upon khayr. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مررنا بها أمس في حديث أنس عند صحيح مسلم حينما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم المؤمن قوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير. And that good, we said that we have the Prophet illustrated that. We mentioned the hadith yesterday, where the Prophet he said the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer. But then the Prophet came back and said, but both of them have some good. So, ما دمنا على الإسلام ولو كان مسلم عاصيا فنحن على خير. As long as you're a Muslim, even if you're struggling with different sins, and may Allah help us, you're still upon khair. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to preserve their khair and to accept our good. Ameen. Yeah, don't say ameen?
Ameen.
Okay. That's an implication for you, unless you're a Catholic. If you're a Catholic, then come take shahada. Yeah. So, alhamdulillah, the kul hal. Before we get into the meat of the lesson, again, we want and we ask the people to keep their phones on vibrate silent. Because remember, this is considered ibadah. Yani, hilaqat al-ilm. The kasra means small circles of knowledge. Hilaqa, kasra. Halaqa bi-fatha, larger circles. So this is considered worship to Allah ta'ala. Wa fihi muqaddimat. And before it is certain things that you have to do, prerequisites. And we mentioned two of them at ikhlas. You don't come to the lessons so you can say, yeah, I was in the house with the Shaikh. You don't come to the lesson so that you could show more than the Shaikh or the argue. You don't come to the lesson to try to impress people what you think you know or that you do know. You come to learn. Rafa'a an nafsika min al-jahl. To raise from yourself ignorance. That's the first reason to seek ilm. وثانيا الأدب مع الله ومع الناس. And there's a certain way to be with Allah, there's a certain way to be with the people. How to have tawada والحشمة وحسن الخلق, to have have dignity, to have a sense of honor about what you say and do, with Allah and with the people. And then we mentioned Barakallahu Fikum yesterday that from the etiquettes of the Sahaba, we studied in the Aqidah al-Wasatiyya. Al-Aqidah, the book of Creed for the town Wasatiyya, when the judge asked Shaikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah to write these treaties, because you have a lot of infighting and arguing and different people doing different things. Write a manual for us to solve this problem. It became known as Al-Aqidah to al-Wasatiyya. That's the city, the town, Wasatiyya, and Al-Aqidah, what they believe. In that treatise, we said that the Prophet ﷺ, who comes in one of the chapters, he asked Ubay bin Ka'b. He asked Ubay bin Ka'b, Ayyu a'zami ayatin fil Qur'an. Ayyu a'zami ayatin fil Qur'an. What is the greatest single ayat of the Qur'an? And Ubay bin Ka'b was from the scholars of the Qur'an. He was from the Hufar. He was from the people who memorized the Qur'an. Mutqin, with perfection. He was one of the ones the Prophet himself delegated in his time to lead the Salah. He was one of the ones out of the two that Umar ibn al-Khattab chose to lead the people in Tarawih. So Ubay, he knew it. The answer. He said, Allahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam. Allah and His Messenger knows best. Then the Prophet asked him again, what is the greatest single ayah in the Quran? And then Ubay, he said, Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyu al-qayyum ayyi ayat al-kursiyu. Meaning ayat al-kursiyu. So the ulama, they said that the Sahaba, when they used to say, oftentimes, the Prophet asked them something, their reply would be, I know. Oftentimes, the Prophet would ask them something, and they wouldn't start talking. They would say, Allahu wa Rasuluhu what? Allah. Allah and His Messenger know best. Shaykh Fawzan, because we studied his explanation in the match. Others studied Shaykh al-Imam Muhammad Salih Uthaymeen's explanation, which is more pages, more details. Our teacher chose Shaykh Fawzan's explanation because it was condensed, smaller, examples, Ibarat al-Sahila, easy expressions. In that, Shaykh Fawzan said the reason Ubay bin Ka'b and others used to say Allah and His Messenger knows best, not because they didn't know, but if they said Allah and His Messenger knows best, they were hoping for mazid al-ilm, that the Prophet would give them some extra knowledge about that thing that they didn't have. If they answer it and the Prophet asked them something, that's the end of the discussion in most cases. But if they said Allah and His Messenger knows best, then they were hoping the Prophet would give them extra, would give them more. So this shows you the etiquettes of dealing with it. And likewise, we said in the circles of knowledge, that's how it is. People don't just blurt, but we have a sense of Allah musta'an, entitlement, or who he think he talking to, or who he think he, Allah musta'an. When Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned, يَعْفَى اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا عِلْمَ الدَّرَجَاتِ, that Allah has raised the believers in different levels. No 1 or 100 or 1,000 or million or billion Muslims or the same. Each one يتفاوت has levels. وكذلك أهل العلم يتفاوت من العوام. And the people of knowledge, they are on a different level than the normal people. وهم يتفاوت بينهما في علمه وفضله وغير ذلك. And even the people of knowledge, they have their levels and their virtues. They're not all the same. Rasulullah said, العلماء ورثة الأنبياء, they inherit from the Prophet the knowledge. So all of this shows you that when we're in the gatherings of knowledge, there's a certain way. It's not that you're here to oppress And we say this because we witness it, you know, question and answers. Brother said, I have a question. Then he's talking, well, Shaykh, you could correct me if I'm wrong. It's not even proper to say that to the Shaykh. You could correct me, like, hey, what is this? And then, you know, well, you know, what I heard or I read or I thought, what's the question? And that's how we were dealt with. The Shaykh didn't care when we went to study. I have a hair on my face. I'm not a little kid, 9 or 10. تأدب في يعني مجالس يعني it's a certain way to behave in the lesson. Because that, again, is ibadah. And that's why all of the ulama, they said that, you know, they would take the character of the Shaykh before they would take any knowledge. Because, you know, if you don't know how to act, then what knowledge do we have? What knowledge do we have? I remember listening to Shaikh Ukkasha from Ghana, which, by the way, many people, hadahum Allah wa iyahum, many people, especially from my African American brothers and others that, you know, yada'una annahum ala manhaj as-salaf, they make the claim. And we're saying claim because that's what we have. We have claims. Even when we're saying the Muslim, it's a claim. Until we meet Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah, we see what we put forward. But those in particular that say the Shaykh, he's an innovator, he's not a person of knowledge, he's not on the mental. Shaykh Ukkasha, I heard him talking about his life. By the way, every place he's went, you can name any place, from Yemen to Saudi, to Maghrib, to the continent of Africa, Asia, all of Ahl al-Ilm, يشهدون بأنه عالم. He's an alim. Let's get that straight. Don't drink the Kool-Aid and follow because you want to go Yom Qiyamah and now you got to give that Shaykh deeds because you see, yeah, man, he's awful. Yeah, man, I heard the brothers, you know, in Philly of Newark or and the brothers in Boston, the brothers in, you know, Durham said, you know, yeah, don't take. They said, I heard some of them myself, we have been told by Ahl al-Ilm who are alim, and he's humble. Because some stuff he won't deal with. I sat with him in some darus in North Carolina. He's an alim. And he has brothers that's bigger than him. How about that? There's 10 of them in his family. From Kumasi, from Ghana. Their family of ilm. He said when he was 4 years old, his father, after the school they went to, would take him to the Shaykh, make him sit with the Shaykh, with his older brothers. He said it was a year and a half before he could say anything. He had to just watch and observe. For mannerisms, as a kid. And he's thinking, when is the Shaykh going to ask me? Because he already knows a lot at 4 or 5. He sat for a year and a half before he had the opportunity to open his mouth. He said as he got older, he realized why. And he was so grateful, not only to his father, but to that Shaykh that, you know, allowed him to sit and watch and not participate into act. Because it's the character, it's the actions that we suffer from, not the knowledge. You know, Salami said, العالم لا يعمل بعلمه يعذبون يوم القيامة قبل أبات وطني. He said, the one who has some knowledge, okay, he knows some stuff, he has no doubt about that knowledge, but he doesn't practice it, he will be punished on the day of judgment before the idol worshippers. عالما لا يعمل بعلمه يعذبون يوم القيامة قبل عباد وطني كما قال. The one who knows something and he doesn't use it, he doesn't practice it, he doesn't respect it, he will be punished on the day of judgment before the idol worshippers. We're talking about the Muslim, we're not talking about, you know, somebody else, talking about us. Why? Al-akhlaq, character. The character. So I want to just mention that before we start, because sometimes, you know, even yesterday, all of that we talked about, we want to review. This is the way of Ahl al-Ilm.
You know what I'm saying? If you, especially if you know Lughat al-Arabiya, you could listen to the Durus of Imam Muhammad Salih al-Uthaymeen, the Durus, yani Mada, some of the yani, students of his that became ulama, like Sheikh Salim, Ta'weel, yani some of the Durus, yani Mada, Sheikh Abdul, yani Razak, Abdul Muhsin, Sheikh Abdul Muhsin. Well, that's some of those Durus recorded, Sheikh al-Mukbil, Sheikh bin Baz. They doing يتجرب يعني بينهم وبين الطلاب. They're back and forth, مناقشة, debating, asking that one's wrong, جزاك الله خير هذا ليس صحيح الثاني, this one he answer أحسنت. That's not being khutbah. We're not in the khutbah. And they want to make sure that you have something, you leave with something. So that, we're going to do that, and we're going to review from yesterday, and we're going to keep going, inshallah. So those brothers that, you know, weren't here yesterday, you may get something right or wrong, but the brothers who were in the class, pull out your notebooks. The brothers that, you know, wrote your notes, now it's time for you to use your notes. Also, we said yesterday, we're going to break at certain times. We're going to try to do the same thing, but if not, maybe eat by 4 o'clock if we can. If not, we'll pray Maghrib, then eat after Maghrib. And we want the people to take all of the food. Not at one time when you fix your plate because it's buffet style. We mean after you eat and there's food left, don't leave any food, pack it, because we have platters today. Take it with you. Last night it was food left. I was cleaning up hours after people left, me and my wife, because people left food. Take it with you. Don't leave it, inshallah. We also said any brothers who want to give donation or tip to the chef, because we said again, this food is being catered by a qualified chef. I'm not just saying it because she's in my household, but this is real, you'll see. Then you could give that donation because the money has been paid for this meal, and inshallah you will enjoy it. Yesterday, we mentioned, I'm going to give bullet points and then we'll deal with questions and answers. We dealt with Arkan al-Islam, Arkan al-Iman. Arkan al-Iman. Pillars or articles of Iman. Yesterday we dealt with Arkan al-Islam, which you have to deal with both of them when we talk about Iman and Islam. The pillars of Islam. Yesterday we dealt with Qutura, yani Shirk, the danger of Shirk. We dealt with also yesterday, Bayna, Shirk al-Akbaru wa Asgaru, the difference between major Shirk and minor Shirk. We also dealt with yesterday, Allahumma salli baka ala nabina Muhammad, the issue of Iman, the ta'rif of Iman, and the Ahlul Sunnah, with Ahlul Sunnah, but with some of Tawa'if al-Yani Munharifa, some of the sects that deviated. We also dealt with Barakallahu Fikum, and the Muslim that makes shirk, and the meaning of the ayat concerning shirk. So those are the things we're going to review today, and then we plan to deal with the 2 conditions for actions to be accepted. The conditions of the Shahadatain, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, the different types of kufr, disbelief, and the pillars of disbelief. That's the layout for today. Now, I know somebody's always saying, wow, all of that's not going to fill on my platter sheet. But, you know, inshallah, Allah, yes, sir, umurana, wa shu'unana. I mean, Allah help us in our affairs and our matters. Tell you. So, yesterday, we said, and sisters, the same thing. If you have any questions, we wish we had the other mics are broken. You can bring your questions down, or we said like yesterday, if those sisters want to come down and sit in the back, this is sunnah. For them to pray in the back, to be in the back, brothers going to be looking. Turning around, looking, control your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Inshallah, ta'ala. Tayeb. We said yesterday they're pillars of Iman. Pillars of Iman. And Allah mentioned them in the Quran. Pillars of Iman, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned them in the Quran. And He said, لَيْسَ بِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ قِبَلَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ. So this is the beginning of the articles. Man amana. Amana means to believe. And then Allah said man. Man means whoever. In Arabic. Man yufidu al-umum means whoever. Yani amana billah. The first one, to believe in Allah. Wal yawm al-akhiru. Wal yawm al-akhiri. The last day. Wal malaika. Number 3, the angels. Wal kitaba means kutub. Munazzal, when Allah sent down scripture. And number 5, one nabiyyin, that's 5. We said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the famous hadith known as Hadith al-Jibreel. When Jibreel came in the form of a man and asked the Prophet about Islam and Iman, the Prophet mentioned 6. So what are the 5 that Allah mentioned? And I just gave it to you. And what are the 6 that the Prophet mentioned? And why did the Prophet mention 6 if Allah mentioned 5? One person at a time. In the Ibrahim.
Yes, he mentioned the 6.
Name them quickly.
Belief in Allah.
Number 1.
Belief, number 1. Belief in the Akhirah.
2.
Belief in the Hera. Belief in the Malaika.
Okay, angels. 3.
Belief in the books.
Number 4, the books.
And belief in the messengers.
And the messages. Take.
And the reason why he emphasized
the 6th one, what does the Prophet mention?
Al-Qadr.
Okay, now why did he mention that?
He mentioned that in order to emphasize the belief in Allah along with the belief in the unknown.
MashaAllah. Next, from the people yesterday. What's the 5 from the Quran and the 6 from the Prophet mentioned and why?
Belief in Allah.
Number 1, belief in Allah.
The Akhirah.
Okay, the hereafter.
Hereafter. The angels.
The angels, number 3.
Okay, all the books of Allah.
All the books, mashallah.
Right. All the prophets.
All the prophets, and that's how many? 5. Okay, and what's the 6th one the Prophet mentioned in the hadith?
The Qadr.
Qadr.
Right.
And why did he mention Qadr?
Because it's connected to the belief. And
The belief of what?
the unseen.
And we said the belief in,
Allah.
the belief in,
Allah.
yeah, that's it. That's the main thing. It's
Right.
connected to belief in Allah. It's part of the unseen, but it's connected to the belief in Allah. Now, tell you. Now, we said the ulama said, and they explained that Allah Azza wa Jalla said, man amana. So you hear the word amana. That's how you know it's part of Iman. And when the Prophet was asked by Jibreel about Iman, he said, and tu'mina billahi. So he said in the beginning, same thing, Iman, tu'mina, that you believe. Billahi, wa malaika, wa kutubihi, wa rasulihi, wa yawm al-akhir. He mentioned yawm al-akhir last. That's one of the differences. Tartib, the arrangement. But he mentioned all 5. Then he said, wa tu'minu. He mentioned belief again, there's a qadri. So the ulama said he really didn't mention a 6th one, although he did, because he didn't say, and tu'minu billahi, with the word to believe. What tu'minu bi malaika, and to believe in the angels. What tu'minu bi kutub. He didn't each time say, and believe, and believe. He mentioned believe once, like Allah mentioned once in the Quran, for all 5. When he got to qadr, then he said, what tu'minu, and we said the arms, يعني كان يعني يتكرر bishay li tawkid. They used to mention something redundantly to emphasize its importance. So that's what the Prophet was doing, the ulama said. So it's 5, really, because that issue of qadr enters into belief in Allah Ta'ala. Anything that Allah does, any action of Allah, any name of Allah, any thing that's particular to Allah, where He is, He exists, all of that is part of belief in Allah. So the qadr and qada, because it's an action of Allah, is part of belief in Allah. Yeah, it's part of the unseen, but the scholars say it enters into belief in Allah. So it's intrinsic in belief in Allah. It's not separate. But the Prophet mentioned it. It became a 6th mentioned thing, while it's still from the 5 things that Allah mentioned in the Quran. So Shaykh Salam at the Weird, he said, when he's explaining Al-Qawl al-Mufid, fi Adilati Tawheed, li Alama Abi Ibrahim, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, al-Wasabi, al-Abdali al-Yamani, rahimahullah ta'ala, when he's explaining that book of our Shaykh, from Hudayda, he said, so if somebody says 5 like the Quran, there's 5 Arkan al-Iman, no problem. If someone says 6 because the Prophet mentioned the 6th one, no problem. But why did he mention the 6th one? Because really to emphasize, and that 6th one is really part of the first one, belief in Allah wa ta'ala. Everybody got that? That's important. Everybody have that? You sure? So if you hear somebody say it's 5, what do you do? And if you hear somebody say, no, I think it's 6, what do you do? Do you fight over it?
No.
Do you explain what you learned in the dars to, like, put the 5 right if it's an argument?
Yes.
I think what you're talking about is 6, look for the law. The Prophet said, you know, it happens. Okay, but what did Allah say in the Quran? Oh, so you saying that the Sunnah is not revelation, only the Quran? You can't take the Quran with the Sunnah? We know how that can go.
Yeah.
Now it's fisticuffs. Really? When each one of them read something, but they didn't get this detail from Ahlul Ilm. So this is the role when you sit in the dars. If you can help somebody. Not to, again, go and floss and flex. No. For you to first understand. Because maybe some people here had this doubt in their mind. Why did the Prophet mention 6 and Allah mention 5? We have to be on certainty in the religion. Especially when it comes to issues of ibadah and belief. You can't be doubtful. You got to know. And secondly, you may be able to help somebody if they ask you in a humble way. Tell you. Yesterday we also said the hadith, al-mu'minu quwiyun khayr. Al-mu'minu, the believer. Al-mu'minu. Quwiyun, strong. Khayrun wa ahabba, showing ratio. Khayrun, better. Wa ahabba, more beloved. Min al-mu'min al-da'if, as opposed to the weak believer. Wa fi kulli khayr, and in both of them is some good. We mentioned that hadith yesterday. Everybody, al-mu'minu quwi.
Al-mu'minu quwi.
Al-mu'minu quwi.
Al-mu'minu quwi.
Al-mu'minu quwi.
Al-mu'minu quwi.
Khayrun
Khayrun
wa ahabba.
wa habba.
Khayrun
Khayrun
wa ahabba.
wa habba.
Khayrun
Khayrun
wa ahabba.
wa habba.
That's the first part of the hadith. Al-mu'minu quwi. And we said the ulama said, yani, quwi in this hadith, yani, min bab awla fil iman. It means first the iman. Because somebody might think quwi means I bench press 500. I can body slam you. No, it means iman first. Lakin yushmal, yani, al-jism. It includes the strength in the body. How do we know? Because Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah about Qalu, وَزَادُهُ بَسْطَةً فِي الْعِلْمِ وَالْجِسْمِ. Jism, the body. Allah said we made him strong in ilm in his body. Because to carry this religion, you can't be weak. If you're weak, you're sick, you go down, you're going to affect you. But the main thing is iman. And then couple that with strength physically. So here the Psalms, the mu'min al-qawiyyun, the strong believer. Khayrun wa habba. He's better and more beloved to himself? No. He's better and more beloved to other people? No. He's better and more beloved to a sheikh? No. He's better and more beloved to Allah. To Allah. من المؤمن الضعيف من المؤمن الضعيف تمييز. This is the distinguishing factor. بين القوي والضعيف. Between the strong and the lesser of the two, the weak. من المؤمن الضعيف. Everybody. من المؤمن الضعيف.
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 وفي كل
وفي كل
خير.
خير.
The strong believer is more beloved, better to Allah than the weak believer, but both of them have some good in them. And both of them is that jihad. That's why we said again, don't despair. If you're a Muslim and you have problems and sin, you're struggling, as long as you have مثقال ذرة من الإيمان يعني فيك خير ولك خير. You're upon good, and in some regard you will have good. But the goal is to strive to be mu'min qawi. How can you strive to be mu'min qawi? By obeying Allah Ta'ala. By knowing that Allah sees you. By not making it just lip service. By not worrying about others before yourself. By reflecting on the hereafter. By doing what Allah commands you of the good and avoiding the evil. By knowing that you're going to meet Allah one day, it's going to pay off if you do those things in this life and hereafter. That's the strong belief. So we went over that yesterday. Also, yesterday we went over Barakallahu Fikum, Arkan and Islam. The pillars of Islam. What are the 5 pillars of Islam? Y'all silent, man. Y'all hungry? Y'all need something to drink? Y'all still waking up?
Shahada.
Shahada. Not you. You still in all the treats, man. Somebody else. What's the 5 pillars of Islam? Everybody should know that. Not to make people feel bad. Everybody. What are the 5 pillars?
The Shahada.
Okay, what is Shahada?
Ashhadu an la ilaha, to testify that none to be worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger.
Okay, Shahada. Somebody says Shahada. Tayyib. Somebody else? Huh? Prayer. Okay, so prayer. So if I do like this.
No.
Okay, Salah. Okay, Tayyib. Salah. What is Salah? Yani if you look at Salah and Dua.
Testification of the limbs.
In the Arabic language, Salah is Dua. So what do we mean when we say Salah?
Dua.
Dua? That's the barakatuh. So we said the second pillar of Islam is Salah. We mean just
No.
يعني الصلاة أفعال مخصوص special actions في أوقات مخصوص at special times لتعبد به Allah Jalla wa Ala in order to worship Allah. That is the meaning of Salah. Shara'an. Yani af'al maqsoos, certain actions. Because you start with doing what? Facing the Qibla. That's, and if you want to go further, then now you talk about conditions of Tahara. Special action. In facing the Qibla. Then after that, yani what? تكبيرة الإحرام. نعم. Then بعد وماذا تقول في تكبيرة الإحرام? What do you say with تكبيرة الإحرام?
Allah.
Some people said يعني أي شيء من الذكر يصلح. You say Subhanallah, raise your hands. Allahu يعني أكبر, raise your hands. Allahu Kadir, raise your hands.
Subhanallah, raise your hands. Some ulama, they said this من أحناف from the Hanafiya. لكن لا يصلح ولا يجوز. But you can't do that because the Prophet only taught us Allahu Akbar. Say it. Why do we raise our hands like this?
Submitting.
Somebody said submitting. Somebody else.
That's the Prophet Muhammad taught us.
Somebody said from here what?
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us.
He taught us. Say it. Somebody else over here said what?
I said, I heard it also means you like throw away your sins that you leave behind you while you're praying.
Say it.
Exalting
Huh?
Allah. Exaltation of Allah.
Exhortation of Allah. MashaAllah. Guys, if you hear maqad min ahl al-ilm, many ulama they have statements. The first one, يعني اتباع الرسول, following the messenger. If those falls on vibrator, shut them off. We want to remind you. Each time that thing go off, I'm going to say, who is it? You owe me $20. Put it in the sadaqah. Everybody's phone's going to be off. It works. All the accidents they used to have in the Mamlaka. Racing, recklessness, they put cameras up, start finding people. They haven't had people die from accidents in years. People more afraid of their pocket than the law. Tell you, some of the ulama, they said the reason behind doing like this, raising your hands like this, and a motion like throwing something behind your back, he said because it means the word ihram here means certain things now you can't do from the word haram. So takbir means to say Allahu Akbar. Takbiratul ihram means when you say this one, certain things that you normally do, you can't do, such as eating. So you can't say Allahu Akbar, eat your meat. Certain things that are permissible is eating, you can't eat while you're doing this action. When we say Allahu Akbar, you can't drink. So you can't say Allahu Akbar, alhamdulillah, I'm thirsty. Reach in your pocket, get your water bottle, sip it, put it back. Nah. Yani, this is the meaning of ihram. Those things are prohibited until you testimony. So the ulama said because of this meaning in the Arabic language, they said the symbolic gesture of doing like this is to throw all of the dunya behind your back out of your mind. That's what he was trying to say, but he heard it to one of the classes, I believe. Young brother Quran. يعني إن كان صحيح أم لا يعني المهم يعني this meant from the استنباط أهل العلم. Some ulama they mentioned this يعني from their يعني deduction of actions and statements and meanings. The point is that يعني action makes it يعني أفعال مخصوص, a special action as it relates to what we say prayer, or as it relates to dua in Arabic, which means yani salat means dua. Also, yani awqat maqsus. You would pray at certain times. But dua, you can make dua at any time. It's not restricted. Some of them said, well, aqwal maqsus. Certain statements that you make, like Allahu Akbar. Again, you can't say Subhanallah, Allahu Kareem, Allahu Salam. That's mentioned in the law, but you don't have the right to choose. You have to say what the Prophet said, Allahu Akbar. Likewise, you recite Kitab, Surah Al-Fatiha, Thumma yani Taraka, and you make ruku. And you say Subhana Rabbil Azim, and other things. So all of this is part of the meaning of Salat Shara'an. Now, tell you, so at the second pillar of Islam, Salah, meaning to perform at certain times, certain actions and statements in order to worship Allah. Tell you, what's after that? That's two. Three more can Islam. Three more. Shahada and Salah. Zakat, mashallah. So, mashallah, fasting. Hajj, mashallah, tabarakallah. Yesterday, we said that the ulama, when they talk about the shahada, they said if the person is a Muslim
and he says, La ilaha illallah, يتضمن شهادة أن محمد رسول الله. It includes Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. They said, but if the non-Muslim, the Kafir says, La ilaha illallah, يشترط له يعني أن تقول وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. He's conditioned to say, and I bear witness that the Prophet is the messenger and servant of Allah. So when we say La ilaha illallah, we don't mean and Muhammad is not the messenger. We mean both as a believer, because you took and said that to enter Islam. But the non-Muslim, he could say La ilaha illallah, but disbelieve in Muhammad. He has to say them both to enter the door of Islam. And he can't say La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, and still believe that Isa is the son of Allah. Can't. So this is important to understand from yesterday's dars as well. Also, we mentioned, someone asked a question, if that's the case about the Shahada, we don't, as a Muslim, have to say them both if we're already a Muslim. Then why do the non-Muslim have to say them both if the Prophet said that we're born a Muslim? And he was talking about the hadith, Kulukum yani malud yulid ala fitra. All of you are born and come into this world on the fitrah. And then the Prophet said, wa abawahu, and it's his parents, and then he mentioned three people. Make him Jew, Christian, or fire worshiper. So we said in that reply that all of the scholars don't say that that word fitrah means Islam. Because fitrah is mentioned in the Quran, yani fatra Allah alayhi, the way that Allah made human beings. Allah uses it concerning Ibrahim. The Prophet said fitrah for yani Ramadan, yani Eid al-Fitrah or Sadaq al-Fitrah. Fitrah has many meanings. Some scholars said that word means yumli il al-haq, that you, when you hear the haq, you will lean or you will agree, you will gravitate towards it. Others said it means yani Islam. But Imam Muhammad was Salih Uthaymeen, he said, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, وَكَانَ إِنسَانًا ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. Now, that the human beings, the origin of them, ignorant and oppressive to themselves. He says, so this ayat shows that you are not born a Muslim. If you're ignorant, how could you be a Muslim? And ignorant here is talking about your Lord. Dhuluman, oppressive, meaning sinful, like this. So this, yani, is why yani, scholars differ as it relates to the hadith. That's why they say, yani, convert, revert. Because some saying, you know, you just reverted and you were already Muslim. Some said, no, you weren't a Muslim, you became a Muslim. That's where that comes from, the convert and revert issue in English, from that hadith. Because some said, no, you weren't a Muslim, you became a Muslim. You were pure, but you weren't a Muslim. Because you have to choose Islam, testify, practice it. Others said, no, you were born a Muslim, you just yani, reverted to it. This is where that comes from. So we mentioned it yesterday. And then we mentioned the issue of a shirk al-akbar wa asghar. What do we say about shirk al-akbar?
It's the major shirk.
It's the major shirk.
It's the major shirk, and there's no coming back from that. You'll be in the hellfire with that.
So the major shirk, we said yesterday, there's no coming back for that. And what do you mean by no coming back?
Allah will not forgive you for that.
He won't forgive you.
No.
Kunna hada, we said that. La, not kunna hada.
Never said that.
If you die on shirk.
Ah, mashallah.
If you die on it.
If you die on it. هذا شيء مهم. مهم جدا. Now,
You have to make tawbah.
if you يعني, die upon it, خلاص انتهى. خلود في النار. So we said shirk يعني كبير, or if we say akbar, means major. And major shirk, يعني يخرجكم عن الملة. It takes your Islam away. Number 2, حبط أعمالكم جميعا. You lose all of your deeds with major shirk. Number 3, if you die upon it, you go to the hellfire forever. That's major shirk. So 3, again, yani kabir or akbar. They have the same meaning here when you see shirk. Shirk, yani, number 1, again, it yani, takes away your Islam. Number 2, habita a'malakum. It takes away all of your deeds. Number 3, if you die upon it, وَلِيَعْذُ بِاللَّهِ خلاص, you burn in the fire forever. هذا الشرك الأكبر. وَجُوجِبُ لَكَ أَن تُتُوبْ فِي حَيَاتِكُمْ مِنْ. And it's incumbent you make tawbah from it while you're alive. Because every sin, you have to make tawbah from it. And many times when people mention shirk akbar, they don't mention that part. You can make tawbah from any sin while you're alive, including shirk akbar. But if you die upon it, that's it. Shirk al-asghar. What do we say about shirk al-asghar? In general, not the type, what do we say, the meaning of shirk al-asghar?
Minor.
You're the only one answering. Who was he yesterday?
Yeah.
It's minor. It's minor.
Huh?
It's minor shirk.
Somebody else said something.
I don't know if you're asking who's here yesterday.
No, I mean, Ajibu, answer. If you were here, you took notes. Shirk asghar. What do we say about yani, the minor shirk?
And it doesn't.
This guy's going to cheat because he knows all of this stuff. He's one of the top students for years, and he reads. You know what I mean? And sometimes he corrects you. MashaAllah. Tell you. So the minor shirk, number 1, it's the opposite of the major shirk. It doesn't take you from Islam. The minor shirk doesn't take you from Islam. But it's a major sin. Many people mess this up. It's minor as it relates to shirk. But it's a major sin. You got to make tawbah from all sins, especially the major. So it doesn't take Islam. Number 2, it doesn't wipe away all of your deeds. That deed is connected to the minor shirk. For example, give me a minor shirk, a type.
Showing off.
Showing off, tell you. So as it relates to showing off, that deed won't be accepted. But if you made wudu, if you fast, if you gave charity, it won't affect that. But major shirk, anything you did, wipes it away. So the minor shirk doesn't take your Islam. Number 1. Number 2, it doesn't nullify all of your deeds. Number 3, it's a minor infraction on the side of shirk, but it's major as a sin. You must make tawbah from it. And we said that the minor shirk is not forgivable. Now, we explain why. Because again, we have customs. We have one side. We have malakhas, summaries, and sometimes used to this. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Shaykh al-Taymiyyah mentioned this too in this wasatiyah. They said the ayah in the Quran when Allah said, Inna Allah la yaghfiru. So Inna Allah, Inna here means emphasis. Inna for emphasis. Allah. So verily Allah, la yaghfiru. What is la here? Is it prohibition or negation? Negation. So la yaghfiru means Allah won't forgive. Inna Allah la yaghfiru. Now Allah is going to explain what He won't forgive. And yushrak. And they said here, masdariya. This is the article showing you what's coming. Huwa masdar. We said in Arabic, masdar huwa huwa ism yudullu ala al-hadath fi nafs waqt. This is what the ulama say about al-masdar. Huwa ism يدل على حدث في نفس وقت في نفس الوقت. It's a noun that also proves that you can do that same noun as an action at the same time. So that's why in Arabic, when they try to convert the idea of a masdar, they say a verbal noun. Now, we don't have such thing in English. We either have a noun or what?
Pronoun.
We either have a noun or what?
Verb.
Thank you. In context, Aki, stay with me. When they say nothing about pronoun, you said noun and verb. Yet? And how can something be a noun and a verb at the same time? It can't in English. But in Arabic, for example, this doorway is called khuruj. Khuruj, that's a thing, an exit. But if somebody's walking through that door at the same time, that's also khuruj. An action you do, and it's a thing. So a masdar here, they said, and is masdariya. It's showing you what's coming after this, and is masdariya. And yushrak. Yushrak is a thing that you do, but it's also a thing. It's a thing, an object, but it's also an action. Here, the ulama, they said, yushrak huwa yani nakiratun. It's without any alif and lam. If you had alif and lam, then it will be particular. But here, the no alif and lam means any shirk. So I can kibira also there. Means any shirk you do, la yakfiru. Allah will not forgive it. وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ. But anything else besides shirk, Allah, if He wants, He'll forgive you. So many times we hear, they mentioned this in their book, they said that minor shirk, tahta mashiyah. If Allah wills, يَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَعْدِلُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. He will forgive if He wills, or you did the shirk, He punish you, meaning minor shirk. Nah. Shirk laysa tahta mashiyah. Islam Taymiyyah mentioned this. Why? Because shirk here in the ayah is without any alif and lam. It's general, meaning ay shirk. So he explained this. He said, so if it's major shirk, Allah is not going to forgive that if you die, because that one already took your Islam. It already took your deeds. But the minor shirk, then Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah and Shaykh Muhammad Salih, they said, Allah will bring you on the day of judgment. When you wazin hasanatikum wa sayyatikum, and He's going to measure your good and bad deeds. See, again, the obeying Allah is important. The doing the good deeds is important. Imagine I have shirk, minor shirk. What are y'all doing? I go to Yawm al-Qiyamah, I'm facing punishment. Why? Because Allah said, La yakfiru, and yushrik. Any shirk He's not going to forgive. But now He weighs how many good deeds I have versus bad deeds. If you have a lot of good deeds, then out of Allah's mercy, your good deeds will weigh out over the minor shirk, you go to Jannah. But if you have more bad deeds, you don't have anything to bargain with, because Allah won't forgive you, then khalas, you gotta go to the fire to be purified from the minor shirk, because Allah didn't forgive any shirk. But because you were muwahid, because you were Muslim, because you didn't die on major shirk, you have to come out and go to Jannah. And that's what Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah mentioned, based upon the ayat being nakiratun, bima'na ay shirk, la yakfir Allah, that Allah will forgive any shirk. Then this, we understand, is not necessarily if Allah He wills, He'll forgive you. If Allah wills, He'll punish you. No, it has to do with how many bad or good deeds you have if you die upon minor shirk. And because it's a major sin, then some said it falls on the second part of the ayah, but here the shirk is general. And this was the ta'rif of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, and Shaykh al-Imam Muhammad Salih al-Thameen mentioned this also in his explanation of al-Aqidah al-Wasatiyya. So that means stay away from all shirk. This is when they say al-Khutur is shirk, the dangers of shirk. The dangers of shirk is that if you die on minor shirk, you're not just going to be forgiven automatically. It has to do with Allah's mercy, just as His mercy has to do with anybody entering Jannah, but it's also your deeds, as the Prophet mentioned. يدخلون الجنة على ما كان من عمله. You will enter Jannah based upon your deeds, but it's also Allah's mercy included. That's in general. And here it's applicable with the issue of dying on any shirk, minor shirk. We mentioned that yesterday. Any questions? Any questions? So what's minor shirk? Somebody tell me what's minor shirk. Give me an example.
Showing off.
Showing up, mashallah. Somebody else give me another one. Minor shirk. Swearing by other than Allah. That's minor shirk.
Swearing in general.
Swearing by other than Allah is minor shirk. You can't say swearing in general. You're here to learn. You want the mic? You want me to sit over there? If I say wallahi, that's swearing.
I was asking.
If you say swear, no. Listen, we already said. Swearing by other than Allah. What does other than Allah mean?
Swearing at grandmother's grave.
Okay. Anything besides Allah, that's what other means.
Correct.
Swearing by the stars, swearing by your mother's grave, by your mother, swearing by, your word, swearing by anything, the moon, the sun, swearing by other than Allah is minor shirk. Now, saying Allah willed and I willed, Allah wanted and I wanted, minor shirk. You have to say Allah wanted or willed that thing for me, then I wanted and willed. You can't combine them together. Allah and I willed. No. Minor shirk. Here. Minor shirk, obeying, yani somebody and what's wrong. Shirk al-ta'ah, minor shirk. And maybe women fall into that a lot because they try to please their husbands, but the husband is telling you something wrong. It's minor shirk. It can become major shirk if you believe that thing now is halal or haram because that person told you, then it becomes major because now you believe that person has the right to tell you that it's halal, haram. But just obeying somebody and what's wrong, minor shirk. Minor shirk. So we mentioned these so that you can know, stay away from them because dying on any shirk, then, you're not forgiven. Your deeds will have to be weighed. And we mentioned that from our ulama. Any questions? Say it. What time is it now?
2.
2 o'clock? Say it, inshallah. We take a 5-minute break and then we come back to the subject on the Nabi Muhammad. What?
This is
It's 2 o'clock now?
this is
Yeah. And it comes in at what time? 2:10? 2 o'clock?
class.
It comes in
But,
about 2:10, 2:12. Barak?
No.
Or Omar, one of you all, can you stop it? Stay going. Omar or Barak?
Almost got it.
No, Omar is here from all.
Yeah, I'm gonna double tap it.
Yeah,
Yes.